It's an exciting day for pilots. The first iteration of actual joystick support is in. Previously, you could plug your joystick in and it would either work or you could kind of force it to work through actually editing game files, but now it's just functioning here and you can adjust every single axis and every value for every axis easily on the fly, and you can see it in real time, so you don't even have to go back and forth between the pilot seat. You can actually visualize the curves, you can see your current axis inputs. It's all very nice and customizable. As far as that goes, it's pretty much perfect. I can't really see any issues with it. You can invert every axis, you can assign a dead zone, you have your curve factor, you can choose whether it's a smooth or linear progression, and you can reassign your axis to pretty much whatever you want. It's all really good. And they added some other functions, like locking free look, which is basically the deal breaker or deal maker for me. If this wasn't in, I would not have switched to joysticks, but now I can look around while manipulating flight controls, which is absolutely fantastic, and I love it. The other thing that has changed, I believe, is the ability to bind things to your actual joystick buttons. For example, like this. Now, previously I couldn't get this to work, and now it does work, but only for helicopter controls, and that's kind of where the problem comes in, because when I'm flying, I need to be able to access the F menu, the T menu, zoom function, all of these things that are traditionally keybinds that belong to infantry that would be on your keyboard are something that I need to either have on my mouse or my joystick, because those are where my two hands are when I'm in flight. And unfortunately, because I can't assign joystick buttons to those values, it has to be my mouse. And I just don't have enough buttons on my mouse, even with a MOBA mouse, to be able to assign those to it without going over infantry binds. So for example, right now my crouch button is my T menu, which works fine in a helicopter and doesn't have any issues, but the moment I hop out, I have to now unbind that and change up my controls in order to play infantry. So that would be my first kind of complaint with the system. It would be fantastic if we had the ability to use our joystick for other controls, because I have several buttons on my left hand here that I'm just not using. And I want to take a moment to address anyone out there who flies helicopters, who has a joystick, who is considering using these functions. Now is your chance. They just released this, they're looking for feedback. Hop in, set up your controls the way you like them, and see where the limitations are. And then go through the proper channels and give your feedback, because they are looking for that right now, and it's very hard to account for everybody's wildly different tastes in helicopter controls unless you're getting consistent feedback. And if you don't go out there and say what you need, it probably won't get implemented. Just one example of this could be the fact that the F menu overrides my mouse, and because I fly left-hand joystick, right-hand mouse, and because my throttle on my joystick basically requires two hands to work, I use left and right mouse button as my actual collective. So while I have the F menu open, my collective is locked in place. And that's actually a good thing for my specific controls, because if I was trying to dump supplies and I was hovering, and then I started increasing collective as a result of hitting left mouse, that would obviously be a problem. But it's not something that I can customize, and if it had been the other way around, or if you have control systems where you need to be able to access one of your mouse keys while having the F menu open, then you might be SOL with this system unless they add something like a toggleable feature for that. So that could just be one example where somebody might be fucked over, where somebody else has absolutely no problem with an uncustomizable feature, and as a result it probably needs to be made customizable. Without any further ado, I just spent some time flying around and crashing. I think I have my controls about where I like them. Let me show you what it looks like. Feels really good. There's a lot of things you can do with this free look. It's easier to spot targets, it's easier to track targets, you actually have the full visibility of your cockpit while maintaining your ability to control the aircraft. If you're doing something like a J-turn, you can basically spot your LZ that you're aiming for, and then perform your full maneuver while also maintaining eyes on your LZ. I'll do it in an open field because I'm still not too crazy good with them with a new flight model. And that's nice and easy, but just look how smooth that looks. And then straight into the whole collective control and straight down. All while basically keeping an eye on exactly where you want to land. It also helps a bit for landing in tight spots. I've already kind of memorized where my nose needs to be for most of the tight spots that I actually land in pub games, like Radio Tower. So it's not super helpful for me, but somebody who's learning now to land in tight spots will have way more situational awareness than they used to be able to, and won't have to rely on previous experiences to do it. I'll try to land in the radio tower. I'm still not 100% confident with these controls, so we'll see if I rotor clip, but I can give you kind of a demonstration possibly. One thing that could be nice is in War Thunder you have the ability to move your head in the cockpit, and I would bind that to a hat switch. Obviously that's not just a quick thing to implement, that's dev time, but it would be nice in situations like these. I can't really see that getting done just because the cost benefit in terms of game production, but let's kind of show you what I mean here. I can check my left, see how close I'm getting to that tower. I know my blade's clear what's in front of me, essentially. I'm worried mostly about back right, which I could check. I'm good. And set her down. Quick note in editing, I just wanted to point out how awkward and jarring that landing looked now that everything else is starting to look more and more smooth. Hopefully that gets addressed. So, like I said, I kind of have this memorized. I know where I need to put my nose, but if I didn't, look at my visibility. Pretty damn good. One other thing I will discuss while flying around here is War Thunder does something nice where they have something like, as you can see here in the helicopter, we have the default controls, increase collective and decrease collective. In War Thunder, that's basically a part of the axis. You can assign a max value to the axis, a min value to the axis, which means holding W would put you at 100, holding S would put you at 0, or you can assign buttons that will increase or decrease if you don't want to actually have an axis, and that's interchangeable with the axis itself. And then you can assign stuff like the actual value you want for the sensitivity of the axis. The sensitivity is fine for me, honestly. I like it where it is, but if I didn't, it would be nice to have the option to increase or decrease that. And that's going to allow other people who might have different methods of controlling the helicopter, like WASD for pitch, yaw, roll, or whatever, to be able to assign values to that so that they can feel more comfortable with it. Like I said earlier, if you have a specific way of flying, get in there early and give your feedback early, because it's difficult to create a system that accounts for everybody without hearing from everybody. Anyway, I guess that's just about it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Let me know what you find when you do your own testing and what works or doesn't work for you.